Phoenix Splash TV. Well, hello and welcome to another Game Analyzer. Today we have a special guest. Welcome, Happy Donut.
Hello.
Today we'll be talking about Zen the Intergalactic Ninja. Have you ever heard of him? There's a good chance that you haven't. He's pretty damn obscure. He came out in the late 80s when ninjas were trending.
It was much like the vampire phase that many people went through. If you look at the vampire time frame, you might notice that some shows and stories went overlooked. Zen is kind of like that, except it happened during the ninja era.
Created by Stephen L. Stern and Dan Coate, Zen tried to capitalize what Ninja Turtles did, start off independently, and then boom into a giant. The character himself isn't entirely all that complicated. He was born as an experiment but considered a failure. When his creator sent him into termination, he was saved by one of the scientists. He found himself being raised by the Om Masters and became a kick-ass martial artist. He then became a mercenary, so he can have all sorts of adventures.
In the early comics, the story centered around Zen and the Star Child, known as Jeremy. The art style was unique for its time and read much like a Saturday morning cartoon. Zen doesn't talk and communicates telepathically, so you only see thought bubbles when he communicates. A lot like Garfield. I always thought he was adorable because of how little he was.
He also had some of the same diction as the Ninja Turtles, but in a unique way, so he doesn't really rip them off. The villains have pretty interesting backstories. Overall, I thought it was a pretty solid series. The best thing about it was the fact that there were no advertisement pages. The first series of Zen was completely independent. Even the back covers had no advertisements. Instead, they had pretty insightful quotes dealing with Buddhism and Japanese culture. Now, during my childhood, Zen was a complete mystery. No matter what comic book store I went to, I never saw a Zen comic. He would only come out in advertisements within other comic books and whatnot.
I remember reading my daily dose of Archie comics and seeing Zen pop up here and there. I always wondered who he was, but unlike Game Analyzer, I managed to find some of Zen, the original series.
And I thank you for that, Happy Donut. The way I discovered Zen was by video games. If you remember my top 10 Genesis games I did with Chris, you may have heard of my uncle who gave us a box of games. Well, he also gave us some Game Boy games too. Within the bundle, there was Zen, and my god, it was definitely my favorite Game Boy game of all time. Or close to the top. It played like Mega Man, where you charged a shot. You can also slide and hit people with a stick. The boss characters were pretty entertaining. There's always a witty word rumble before each boss battle.
This ocean will be a bath of oil.
You're not that slick.
My acid rain will melt Earth.
Yeah, right. I'll rain on your parade. Ha! Checkmate. Zen always knows what to say. Aside from the normal levels, it also had bonus levels that were pretty neat. The game seems to follow the original comic series, actually, where you have to save the Star Child, known as Jeremy.
The game also had a whole Save the Earth message. That's another thing about Zen. It came out during a time where many cartoons were promoting recycling and going green, like Captain Planet and Swamp Thing.
Zen also had an NES game released, which was pretty ambitious at the time. It was pretty wacky. It seems to have the same characters as the Game Boy, or at least it has the Acid Rain Girl. I could never survive long enough to get to the end of the other stages, and I will admit it's pretty flawed. This stage is pretty damn fun though. Well, that's Zen. To me, he was always a big mystery. In fact, one of the first things I did when I had internet was go on Google and type Zen the Intergalactic Ninja. I found some site telling me to boycott Third Rock from the Sun. Years later, using the Wayback Machine, I found out that I was actually on the Zen site. And now it's a pretty good place to find your Zen.
As far as the comics go, the original series first edition is pretty hard to come by, even on the internet. Since it was all independent, not a whole lot were really printed. You can find the first two on eBay, but they're pretty pricey. As far as the other series go, you can find them at pretty decent prices on Amazon and eBay. Zen truly is a hidden gem within the comic book world.
That's right, Happy Donut. Well, thanks for watching and clicking on something you may have known nothing about. But Zen is not a thing of the past. Zen is still kicking thanks to one of his creators, Dan Coate. I think that's how you pronounce it. For more information on Zen, please click the link in the description for the website. It's a pretty neat place. This is Game Analyzer, signing off.
Goodbye.
A whirlwind catches all the pain and regret. My mind wilters all the strain and forget. Unphysical scar to the back of my neck. I close my eyes to see the pain.